Hi again. As promised, this is the follow-up video from our recent one about the sheep mutilation that we found a few weeks ago whilst out in the countryside in Shropshire. I didn't intend leaving it this long, but I will explain later on why there has been a gap of weeks in making this video. So cast your mind back to our original video. The day that we found the mutilated sheep carcass, we was sat about 200 yards away in the MIV, our mobile investigation vehicle. We sat observing the carcass and observed several crows coming and perching on top of the sheep, flying back off, then coming back and pecking the remains for most of the day. So the plan had been, before finding the sheep, to spend the night at this location, to observe and do a skywatch, but after finding this sheep, I'm sorry to say that I just didn't fancy the thought of sleeping overnight 200 yards away from a sheep that looked like the classic sheep mutilation. Something felt very wrong to me, and you will understand why, shortly. We did stay at that location till 10:30 at night and observed 3 large foxes coming from over the hill and start feeding on the remains. They were tearing it up. What was left of daylight faded, and about 10:30 p.m. we drove down the road about a mile to a car parking area and spent the night there. Although this was also a very lonely car park in the middle of nowhere, but anyway, we stayed there. The next morning we were up early and drove back to the location of the sheep carcass. What we found was that the sheep's body had been completely devoured and all that was left was the head, legs and bones. We looked at each other, and at that point realized that when we found the sheep's carcass the previous morning, that we had happened upon a very fresh kill. Also, you will recall there was no maggots on the carcass, but blue bottles were inside the carcass, so presuming if it had been done a day or two before, then judging by the state of the carcass 24 hours later, then there would have been nothing left to see because of predation from the foxes. Since our last report, I have had contact with a MUFON STAR team member, and the APFU, the Animal Pathology Field Unit, run by Phil Hoyle and David K. Tunn, who specialize in animal mutilations in the United Kingdom, and we have been informed by both the MUFON chap and the APFU that the sheep we found is indeed a classic sheep mutilation, judging by the photos and footage. Also to take into consideration is the fact that the area this sheep was found has had a lot of similar sheep mutilations and is classed as a hot spot for such killings over decades apparently. Many of the local farmers are very aware of what is happening, and incidents of sheep mutilations and sightings of strange objects in the sky have been going on a very long time. Local farmers have witnessed orbs of light coming down from the sky to the ground, then shoot back up into the sky, and when the farmer goes to look at the location of the orb landing, finds a mutilated sheep. This type of thing is very disturbing to investigate actually, and for a couple of weeks or so after we found this sheep, I had a few sleepless nights. It is a very scary feeling that you have stood on the exact spot where something has potentially come down from the sky, plucked an animal from the pasture, and done this to it. I think I had some sort of shock set in, or something, but it was an awful feeling. We have all read about this and seen other footage from elsewhere, but until it happens right under your nose does the reality sink in, and it's not a nice feeling. I have been told since, that these mutilations have been reported in this area during the daytime too, and no one saw a thing. Anyway, when we got back home at the time, I was not happy pursuing this type of thing really. We didn't set out with the thoughts of being embroiled in animal mutilation, but that is what panned out. I also thought about another video from an investigator in South Wales, who put up posters requesting for witnesses who might have seen UFOs, on or near the Brecon Beacons, and was shocked and horrified when a man who said he was ex-military, came forward and showed him photographs of what appeared to be human mutilations. The investigator famously said, and I quote, "All I wanted to see was a few lights in the sky." Close quotes. So that quote came crashing home to me as well. We had only ever really wanted to see a few lights in the sky, but from experience, this isn't always the case, is it? We can't decide the phenomena that we will experience, you experience what is presented to you at the time, so just be mindful of what you might find, because it's all fun and exciting, then you get dropped into something that is potentially very dangerous. Anyway, as the weeks passed by, things settled down, I seem to have accepted what I saw, and I do feel like I want to go back to this area again, at some point in the not too distant future, so watch this space. Thanks for listening. Just to clarify, dear listener, we are not saying that aliens killed this animal, we are simply presenting images and footage of what we witnessed, and passing on quotes and remarks from other investigators more experienced in this area of research. Thank you for listening. Feel free to comment below. Over and out.